You know, Teddy Bridgewater is somebody who I have always had a lot of admiration and respect for. Not for who he is as a football player, but for who he is as a person. Now, he recently reposted a status on his Instagram page that he made on Facebook calling out NFL players who try to portray themselves as gangsters. Now, in this status, he said, "Tired of seeing football players portray this tough guy image or pretend he's a gangster. You went to school, attended those classes, and some even got their college degree. Now, you might have 1.5% of professional football players that's on that, but the remaining 98.5% are only football tough. So don't wait till you inherit this legal money from the league to decide you want to be tough or portray a street image, because it's kids that's looking up to everything we do. Plus, it's someone sitting in a cell or posted in the hood who might have been just as hood as you that would have advised you otherwise. Kids, don't be fooled. You can play ball, do the right thing, and they still gonna accept you. Look at me. I'm far from perfect, but I chose the ball route. But I can still go to the hood and post up, and it's all love. I still keep the same 3 dudes around me. My people accept me for making all the right decisions and not falling victim or being tricked by the false image you see on IG from a lot of ball players. Choose your path. Can't do both." And you see, Teddy Bridgewater is doing nothing but speaking 100% facts. This is somebody who grew up in the roughest part of Miami, who could have easily fallen victim to the streets and been another statistic, but he chose to take the other route. And you see, there are a lot of people growing up in my generation who feel like they have to portray themselves in a certain image in a certain way, act like the hood, act like they're gangster, because they feel that's the only way they can get the respect of their peers. And it's the same thing for professional athletes. Every time they get harsh criticism from fans or they get trolled, they always got to say, "Man, meet me in real life." It makes no sense. You're a professional athlete. I understand that professional athletes are human, but at the same time, trying to portray yourself as a gangster is not going to make people scared of you. As a matter of fact, it's going to invite people to try to test you more to get a reaction out of you, because everybody knows that if you're going back and forth with somebody on the internet, 99.9% of the time, they wouldn't say it to your face. So there's no reason to try to portray yourselves to act a certain kind of way, because you're just going to do the complete opposite of what your intentions were. A lot of NFL players feel like if they portray themselves to be this gangster or tough guy, that less people are going to try them. And instead, more people are more likely to try you because they want to test you. They want to see if you actually are going to stand on what you try to throw out there, the image that you try to portray yourself as. And there's a lot of kids in my generation who grow up and they listen to all of the new rap music, the Lil Durks of the world, the King Vons of the world, the NBA Youngboys, and they get easily influenced to thinking that they have to go out here and drill to get respect of their peers. I remember growing up in high school, right? Every time I was around some females, there will always be a couple of boys who come along who always got to try to act like they're on that, be like, "Oh yeah, man, like I just caught a body," and then they want to play fight, they want to try to act tough just to impress females. And that's really what this is. A lot of people who try to portray themselves as being a tough guy or a gangster, they do this because they think that, one, is going to make them even more popular. Two, they try to do it to fit in with a crowd that they probably shouldn't be trying to fit in with anyway. And three, they do it because they think that more people are going to respect them. And more people respect you when you actually are the person that you are. People don't respect you for the person that you try to be. And it's a lot easier to actually be something that you are versus being something that you're not. You see, it's crazy nowadays because I remember growing up, you know, a lot of people who were really in the streets and stuff like that, they did it because it was the only thing they had. It's the only thing they knew. Nowadays, you have kids who want to get involved in the street life, even though they come from families that make a good income, and yet they still want to get involved because they feel it's the only way they can get accepted by their peers. If you have to change who you are to be accepted by a group of people, then you probably shouldn't be hanging around those group of people, because you should be hanging around people who like you for you. You shouldn't have to risk your life and risk your freedom to impress people just for a little bit of fame and clout, because 9 times out of 10, nobody really cares at the end of the day. You feel me? So what Teddy Bridgewater is saying really resonates me because I grew up in Jacksonville for the majority of my life. I've been in some really tough neighborhoods, some really sticky situations where I easily could have found myself in trouble. And there's been people that I've had to distance myself from because we just had different ways that we wanted our life to go. I've had a lot of friends who I lost. I lost, 12, 13 friends to gang violence, street violence, some who were heavily involved and some who were innocent. But at the end of the day, they still accepted me for me. And part of being an adult and part of maturing is being able to realize that, hey, I don't have to change who I am to fit in with people. You see a lot of people who try to act like something that they're not. They do it because they're not comfortable in their own skin. When you're comfortable in your own skin and you're comfortable with who you are as a person, then it doesn't matter what other people think of you. You do what's best for you. At the end of the day, nobody else can live your life for you but you. So that means that regardless, if a group of people don't want to hang around you because you're not the gangster that they are or anything like that, that's fine, because at the end of the day, who wants to be having their life in danger 24/7, having to always be on high alert because they have ops looking for them? You get what I'm saying? Like, I never really understand why so many people are thrilled with the street life. All that you get out of it is either going to jail or getting killed at a young age. You get what I'm saying? So for Teddy Bridgewater, what he's saying is really gospel. And I feel like a lot of people, especially in my generation, need to hear this message, because there are a lot of people who are getting into a lot of illegal activities and getting into the streets and trying to portray themselves to be a certain way, and then they end up getting in trouble for it. And you see, it's more to life than just trying to please people. You feel me? Life is a lot easier when you're around people who legitimately accept you for you. Teddy Bridgewater is a good example of that. He's still around the same 3 people because they accept him for who he is. You want to know why Teddy Bridgewater can go back to the same hood he grew up at and give out toys and give back to the community? Because people appreciate him for the person that he became. People appreciated him for the fact that he was able to rise above the current environment that he grew up in. A lot of people say you're a product of your environment, and that's not entirely true. You're only a product of your environment if you allow yourself to be a product of your environment. Just because you grew up in a tough neighborhood full of nothing but crackheads and dope fiends doesn't mean that you have to grow up and be a crackhead and dope fiend yourself. You see, there's a point in life when I was stuck. You feel me? I didn't really know who I was because I was hanging around a group of people who were acting this kind of way. But at the same time, I was with another group of people who were acting a different kind of way. And I ended up just having to distance myself from the people who just wanted to be attracted to that lifestyle, because I got to a point when I got tired of going to funerals. You get what I'm saying? I got tired of waking up every day and being scared to check Instagram because I was afraid of seeing another one of my childhood friends end up being on the news, being another victim to violence in the streets. You feel me? It really wears you down as a person. And, you know, I had to mature at a very young age. You feel me? This happened junior year, man. I was in the middle of junior year, man. And at this point, I had lost, 8 friends up to this point. And, you know, I started to change. You know, I was really hurt. It was a point when I was like, dang, like, am I going to be the next person? Am I going to end up being the next statistic? But you know what I had to do? I had to reinvent myself. I had to say, you know what, JT, for me to become the person that I know I'm capable of being able to become, I have to distance myself. I have to be able to be comfortable with the fact that, yeah, people may not accept me for who I am if I choose to break off from these group of individuals. But at the same time, at the end of the day, if I'm trying to get to a certain place in life, I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm around people who may set me up to get killed one day. You feel me? It's just a mindset thing. And a lot of people who try to act tough, they're really insecure about themselves. You see, you have to be comfortable with who you are as a person to understand that not everybody is going to like you for who you are and what you stand for. But at the end of the day, when you end up making it out and you end up reaching a level of success, being able to overcome those certain obstacles that you grew up with, everybody most of the time is going to end up respecting you, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make it out. The goal isn't to go back to the hood. The goal isn't to die in the hood. The goal is to level up, make it out, and move on. The only time you should be going back to that place is when you're trying to give back to the community. And even then, even that's a dangerous task. So I just feel like nowadays there are more athletes trying to live this rapper lifestyle and trying to portray this gangster image versus just being the role model for the kids. You're supposed to be showing kids that it doesn't matter where you came from or how bad your situation is right now. You can still make it out and you can still be successful. You shouldn't be encouraging kids to stay in the street and portray this image, because regardless of what we believe, there are young children who look up to these athletes as role models. And you know, as parents, you got to do a better job of teaching your children, hey, these are individuals who have their own lives. They make mistakes, and at the end of the day, you have to teach them to do the right thing. You have to teach them to make the right decisions. You have to teach them to learn the difference between what they see on the internet and what actually is going on. And you see, a lot of people can't distinguish this. They think that they see somebody acting this way on Instagram, so that's actually who they are, and it's far from the truth, because a lot of people put on the front for the camera. So I really like the message that Teddy Bridgewater is sending in this post. And I think that there are more athletes who need to send this message versus just sending the message that they got to be tough and you got to be gangster to earn respect. Because the majority of the people in this world who get respect aren't the people who portray themselves as tough guys and gangsters. They walk in a room and people automatically respect them, not because of how they act, but because of what they have accomplished and what they have achieved. And you don't achieve that by being something that you're not. For you to be successful, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And a lot of people don't know what that means, but being comfortable in your own skin means that you accept yourself for who you are and you're not changing for nobody. You don't have to change yourself in a way for people to accept you. You either walk in a room and you fit in with that group of people, or you don't. And if you don't, you just walk away and go to another group of people who accept you for the person that you are. And you see, a lot of people are just easily influenced. A lot of people can't live without being liked, in a sense. A lot of people have to be popular. A lot of people got to have a lot of friends. A lot of people got to do whatever it takes to be accepted. And that's how you end up running into not only a dangerous lifestyle all the time, but that's how you end up being unhappy. Because if you end up constantly having to change who you are to be accepted about a group of people, that means that you can't be yourself around these particular group of individuals. And it ends up leading you down a path where you end up being depressed, unhappy, because you never know if people actually really like you for you or the person that you pretend to be. You feel me? So it's better off to be yourself, because you end up being more happier that way. And at the end of the day, who wants to end up being in the streets anyway? I don't really understand this generation, man. I really don't. Like, I understand everybody wants to be a thug. Everybody wants to be an individual that commands respect. But it's different when you're able to command respect by just being who you are. You don't have to be a tough guy or a gangster to stand up for yourself. It's a difference between standing up for yourself and acting a certain kind of way because you think people won't mess with you. There are plenty of rappers who get tested every day simply for the fact that they portray themselves as this big gangster image. You feel me? And they may not tell you, but behind the scenes, it weighs down on them. I'm pretty sure Lil Durk almost every single day gets trolled every single day. I know you guys see the comments, slide for King Von, slide for King Von. And for those of you guys who don't know who Lil Durk is, he's a very popular rapper that's hot right now. And he was pretty much best friends with this rapper named King Von. And King Von ended up passing away a couple of years ago, right? And now everybody keeps telling him to slide for Von, because of this image that he has portrayed. And now, behind the scenes, I'm pretty sure that weighs on Lil Durk's conscience. I'm pretty sure that if Lil Durk wasn't affected by this, he wouldn't make several songs calling out trolls and fans for telling him to slide. You feel me? So this makes him feel a certain kind of way. And he may not own up to it and fess up to it, but let's be honest, it affects him. I would love to be able to go on Instagram and not get trolled by millions of people trying to tell me to slide to keep up this image. You feel me? Once you move out the hood, your main priority should be, okay, I've moved out. It's time for me to move on. You feel me? I'm trying to level up in life. How can you level up in life if you continue to be something that you're not? If you always have to put on this mask and this this fake face, then how are you truly going to be happy? How can you truly be happy with being something that you pretend to be versus being something that you actually are? You see, Teddy Bridgewater is a great role model for young adults. And not just young adults, but for young children who need hope. There was a lot of times when I was there, along with a couple of other friends, and we felt like, we were going to go down the path where we was going to end up being dead or in jail. But at the end of the day, tough times build character. Tough times is what makes us who we are. And at the end of the day, we was able to overcome those obstacles, and we ended up not being another statistic. We ended up not being another product of our environment. And a lot of African American people, I don't want to make this about race, but oftentimes we like to use the narrative that white people are killing us. They set us up to kill each other. That's not entirely true. At the end of the day, we are still responsible for our actions. We are still responsible for what we do. You feel me? So for Teddy Bridgewater calling out these NFL players that portray themselves as a certain image, I love it. You feel me? Because I get tired of going on social media. That's why I'm not a social media person, because everybody on social media can be whatever they want to. When you get on social media, there's a lot of people who end up pretending to be something they're not. It's like Hollywood. You feel me? You go on Instagram, nobody struggles, everybody's happy, everybody has money, nobody has no problems, everybody's perfect on social media. But if you actually look at the person behind the screen, that's who they really are. What you are in real life is who you are as an individual. You feel me? So I don't understand how people can live every day portraying to be something that they're not, portraying this image. Because the more you pretend, the harder it gets to pretend. The more you lie, the harder it is to keep up lying, because you have to come up with more lies and more lies. And when you portray this tough guy image, eventually somebody's going to come up to you and they're going to put you in a situation where you either got to choose to either keep that image going and end up maybe being locked up and losing the freedom for the rest of your life, or you end up getting embarrassed, losing a lot of respect, because then people will see you for who you are, a phony. So let me know what you guys think about Teddy Bridgewater calling out NFL players who try to portray themselves as these tough guys or these gangsters down in the comment section down below.